As we enter a new year, it is likely that you are setting yourself new goals and new habits to become a better, happier, more successful version of yourself. But what is the point in setting these new goals and new habits if you do not know how to implement them successfully? Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Abbey. I'm a management consultant living and working in London, and I make productivity and corporate lifestyle YouTube videos. And we are kicking off the year with a video all about habit creation, and not just about what habits we want to implement throughout the year, but actually how to implement them successfully using science-backed studies. If you've been following along on my channel for a while, you know that I am big on self-development and all things productivity. And last year I set myself a goal to read one book of interest, which is either a self-help, a business, or a book to do with finance every single month. And in December, my final book was The Power of Habit: Why We Do What We Do and How to Change. Now, this book is filled with how habits really work. It discusses science-based studies on how to create new habits, how to change old ones, and the crucial ingredient that can be the difference of sticking to a new habit or just going back to your old ones. So I thought I would share that with you on today's video as we enter the new year, ready to slay every day. Now, you've probably heard before the quote, "Show me your habits and I'll show you your future." Now, this quote comes from the fact that we are literally a sum of all of our habits. The things you do every single day are what builds your future. So if you are stuck in a rut of bad habits, then you are in the right place, because hopefully this video can help you change those habits. And if you want to create some new ones, again, that is what we are going to be discussing today. I'm going to start off by discussing the science of how habits really work, how we create them, and how we can change them. And then if you stick around to the end, I will talk through the habits that I'm going to start implementing in 2024. Okay, so the first thing we are going to look at today is, what is a habit loop? Now, this is how habits really work. So a habit is a routine of behavior that is repeated regularly and tends to occur subconsciously. Now, habits take place in a habit loop. A habit loop is made up of a cue, a routine, and then some sort of reward. And it really is that simple. So remember that: cue, routine, reward, because we are going to mention that many times in this video. So let's look at an example. Brushing your teeth. Everybody brushes their teeth, we hope. And this is a habit for all of us now. You know, most of us do it twice a day, and it's become subconscious and a routine we perform regularly. So what is the cue? Now, this is different for everyone, but I was thinking about this the other day, and the cue for brushing my teeth is finishing a cup of tea. Now, this sounds so random, but every single morning and every single evening, I have a cup of tea as I wake up and a cup of tea just before bed. And on both of these cups of tea, I brush my teeth as soon as I finished those cups of tea. Like, it's like the last thing I do, and then it's time to brush my teeth. So my cue: wake up, have my tea. As soon as that's done, I brush my teeth. The routine: brushing your teeth. And the reward is that minty, fresh feeling you have in your mouth that makes you feel clean and just kind of ready for the day. And did you actually know, I read about this in the book, that feeling, that kind of tingling, minty, fresh feeling that they put in toothpaste, they only put in there to create a habit. That minty, fresh feeling doesn't actually do anything for your teeth. It doesn't make them any cleaner or any better, but they created that tingly, minty sensation so that every time you brush your teeth, you've got this reward, this like nice feeling in your mouth. So you did it again. And then you did it again, and then you bought more toothpaste. It's actually a marketing technique, which is really cool. But yeah, that's the story of how a marketing campaign for toothpaste really did change the habits of people brushing their teeth, that they did it twice a day. Now, think, what is the cue for you brushing your teeth? Is it getting out the shower? Is it putting your shoes on to leave the house? And the reason I'm asking you to think about that is because it's really important to notice what different cues your habits have, because only when you know the cues are you able to change them or understand how to create new ones. So now we know how habits work, let's see how we can create them. Okay, so how do we create new habits? Now, to create a new habit, it isn't as simple as just creating a cue, doing a routine, and giving yourself a reward, because very often you will get bored, or you'll be too lazy or too tired to actually perform the routine. When you see the cue, you don't really care enough about the reward, and you're just not going to stick to them. You need something to drive the habit loop. You need something to make sure that when you see that cue, you do perform the routine and you do get the reward. And the thing you need that drives this habit loop is a craving. To create a new habit, you want it so that when you see the cue, you start craving the reward. So say I finish my cup of tea and I can feel that tea taste in my mouth. You kind of start craving that minty fresh feeling, and that is what drives that habit loop. So let's look at some examples of that craving. So someone that smokes cigarettes, very often their cue might be seeing a packet of cigarettes. The routine would be taking a cigarette out and having one, and the reward would be that nicotine rush that they get. You are starting to crave that reward. You are craving that nicotine rush. So when you see a cue, you can't ignore it. You can't ignore that packet of cigarettes. You need to do the routine. You need to take one out. You need to have one, and you need the reward. It's the same for when your phone goes off next to you. If you're doing something and your phone's near you and you hear it go off, that's the cue. Your phone's gone off. Your routine would be to pick up your phone. You are craving that dopamine rush you get when you pick up your phone and you see who messaged you or what the notification was. Even if it's not exciting, you are craving the answer of what was that notification? Who messaged me? What was it? And this is how it becomes a habit. It is very likely that whenever you have your phone near you and a notification goes off, you do look at it. And that is a habit, okay? There is a cue, there is a routine, and you are craving the reward. So let's see how we can actually create a new habit using this science. So one of my habits for 2024 is going to be that I want to read 10 pages every single morning. Now, let's create this habit. Okay, we need a cue. Now, I know I wake up and the first thing I do is make a cup of tea. So that is going to be my cue. It's something that I do anyway, and it's something that's going to remind me, once I've got that cup of tea in my hand, going back to my bed, pick up my book. Okay, that is the cue. Routine, read 10 pages. Reward, well, the reward could be feeling accomplished, feeling like, I've read the 10 pages for the day, a little bit of dopamine, I'm going to feel a little bit good. But is it enough to create a craving? Probably not. If I forgot to do that, I really don't think I'd crave that reward. So I need to make a craving to make that happen. Now, I know that if the night before I write a to-do list and I write little boxes with little tasks on them, and I want to get all of them ticked by the end of the day, I will start craving the need to tick those boxes. So my reward is going to be, once I finish reading the 10 pages, I get to open my notebook with my to-do list in and I get to tick the box. Okay, now that doesn't sound like much, but if I keep up with this every single day, I'm going to start getting a little bit addicted to wanting to tick that box. If I miss reading 10 pages in one day and then I get to the end of the day and that box isn't ticked, that is going to annoy me. So I'm going to feel a craving to want to tick that box in the morning before I even start my day. I want a box ticked. So my cue is having a cup of tea, my routine is reading 10 pages, and my reward is the satisfaction that I get from doing it, the little dopamine rush, but mainly the large dopamine rush that I will get from ticking that box before the day's even begun. And ta-da, new habit has been created. Now, sometimes a craving won't be enough and you do need a little bit of discipline at the start, but the more you can create a craving for that reward, the easier it will be to form a habit. Okay, next up, how do we change old habits? So changing old habits is slightly different to creating new ones. If you smoke cigarettes, it's very difficult to just one day look at the cue, look at the pack of cigarettes and just decide, I'm not going to smoke that, okay? Because you are craving the reward. So the way to change or get rid of old habits is to change the routine, but keep the same cue and the same reward. Now, if you change this routine to something like going on a run or doing some exercise, you will still get the same reward. You will get that big dopamine rush. You got the rush that you wanted, but you changed the routine and therefore you changed the habit. Okay, say that you have a bad habit where you get into bed every evening, you go straight on TikTok and you want to change this habit. Okay, your cue is getting into bed. Your routine is going on your phone and going on TikTok. Your reward is the little dopamine rush you get from each video. We want to change this habit. However, we know we can't change the cue and we know we can't change the reward. So we need to change the routine, but keep these the same. So the cue, getting into bed. The reward, I need a dopamine rush from somewhere. I'm going to get into bed and I'm going to instead read my 10 pages and tick it off my to-do list. And I'm going to get a dopamine rush from at the end of the day, having another thing ticked off. And that's gonna make me feel good, give me a little dopamine rush. And now that habit from getting into bed and needing a dopamine rush has gone from sitting on my phone and scrolling TikTok to actually doing something that I wanted to do anyway, and I still get the same reward. However, there is another crucial ingredient when you're trying to change a habit, because changing habits is hard. It's a habit, it's something you do subconsciously. And this is the belief that you can change that habit. Now, it sounds so silly, but it's a genuine thing. If you do not believe that you can rely on this new habit to still give you the same reward and to still make you feel good, then you're not gonna bother changing it, okay? If you do not believe that going on a run will make you feel good at the end of it, then you are not going to go on that run. You're just going to pick up the cigarette. If you do not believe that reading these 10 pages and ticking it off your to-do list is going to make you feel good, you're not going to bother. You're going to pick up your phone. You're going to go on TikTok, okay? You need to believe that you can change and you can get a similar reward from doing something else. And it really is all that simple. It is simply a cue, a routine, and a reward. And if you have these three things, you have a habit, okay? So what habits will I be taking into 2024? One thing that I want to do in 2024 is to get up earlier, because before I start my work day, I sometimes work quite long hours and I feel like work could be really consuming. And so I want to start waking up earlier so I can have an hour in the morning to either complete a bit of work outside of work, so like YouTube or life admin, or go to the gym. So how am I going to make that into a habit? Okay, I need a cue. Well, the cue is going to be an alarm. I'm just going to set an earlier alarm. The cue will wake me up. The routine will be making a cup of tea straight away. That is how I'm going to get up early. It's going to be up immediately, cup of tea. And the reward is going to be the satisfaction, sitting in bed and sipping my tea. Now, I also, as I mentioned, want to introduce a habit of reading 10 pages every morning. Now, I'm going to build this into my previous habit, and the cue is going to be sitting in bed with a cup of tea. The routine is going to be reading 10 pages, and the reward is going to be ticking it off my to-do list. And as I said earlier, this is what's going to create the craving. Okay, I'm going to want to tick it off every single day. New habit created. Next one, I want to make my bed every morning. Now, I'm literally so bad at doing this. I really just had like a lazy era last year, and I kind of enjoyed it, but I feel like now I should, grow up and make my bed. So the cue is going to be when I get out of bed to start the day. The routine is going to be making my bed, and the reward is going to be ticking it off my to-do list. Now, this sounds so silly, but if I write in my to-do list every day, read 10 pages, make bed, and I get to tick those both off before I even really start the day, I'm going to feel good. And I'm going to get a bit addicted to that. I'm going to want to tick them off every day. Okay, I'm going to crave that feeling of ticking them off. Next habit that I want to implement in 2024 is to wear SPF every day. Now, I do have an SPF primer that I do put on sometimes, but as I said, it's not a habit because I only put it on sometimes. So the cue is going to be when I put my moisturizer on, that's when I'm going to go, oh, time to do my new habit. The routine is going to be putting SPF on, and the reward is going to be the kind of face massage that you get as you put it on, and the dopamine rush of feeling like really put together and clean on my face. Next habit I want to implement is to reply to messages / comments / just anything on my phone quicker, because I am the worst replier ever, and if you know me personally, you will really feel that, and I'm very sorry that I'm so bad at replying. I really don't know why I can't reply to messages, but I am trying, and I'm implementing a new habit this year to make it better. So the cue is going to be when I come in from work, I'm going to try and sit down and make sure I've replied as much as I can, obviously within reason. Can't always reply to everything straight away. The cue will be coming in from work, the routine will be replying to messages, and the reward will be to have dinner straight afterward. I'm going to be hungry. I'm going to want to quickly get through that so I can make dinner. And the final habit I want to implement is do not go on TikTok before I go to bed, because you could just get in, a TikTok hole before bed. So the cue is going to be getting into bed, and the routine is going to be to go on. I found this new app called Your Juno. It's a bit like Duolingo, but for money. And you can basically do a little lesson on personal finance, and then you get these avocado points, which when they add up you can buy actual real life rewards with. And so my routine is going to be doing one of these lessons. So get into bed, do one of these lessons, and the reward will be the 100 avocados or whatever you get, points on the app that you get at the end of it. And this also coincides with some of my goals on learning more about personal finance. So yeah, I think that's gonna work. And that is it. I'm only implementing 6 new habits at the moment, because over here we aim for progress and not perfection. So I'm gonna see how these go, see if they go well, see if I want to change any of them, and I might implement more as we go through the year. Now, of course, sometimes you do just need a bit of discipline. Craving might not always be enough. You do just need to sometimes get on with things, but the more of a craving you can create, the easier it will be to create a new habit. And remember, habits are subconscious things that you repeat often. Once you have actually created a habit, you really won't need to think about it much, and it'll be a lot easier than it sounds. So I hope this video has been helpful, and I hope you are ready to start creating new habits and changing old ones using this science-backed method, and so that you can become even happier and more successful in 2024. Thank you for watching. If you did enjoy this video, please do like and subscribe. It means a lot to my little channel, and it really helps me achieve my 2024 goals. So yes, thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video.